Yes, buckle your seatbelt.
Hello all, welcome to another Roundtable Reviews. Today I have Captain Trek and Vance Major with me as we're going to discuss and talk about Star Trek TNG episode Justice. So Vance, what do you think?
Oh, I thought it was heavenly.
Cap.
Oh my. Yeah, this one was definitely it was an episode.
Yeah, it was an episode, all right.
It was almost a killer episode.
Yeah, now, Cap, we all know that you had a whole, cheerleading squad. Let's kill him, let's kill him. Yeah, let's kill him, let's kill him. Yeah.
We need to Photoshop Captain Trek over that one dude holding the needle. That would be,
There we go.
Was that really you, Captain Trek?
Only in my dream.
Come here, Wesley. I've got an injection for you. Vitamins. Yes.
So overall, what did you think of the perm people?
It was kind of, to me, I think this episode and the people on the planet always kind of reminded me of, especially looking back on it, it's kind of like Ryza 2.0.
Yes, I was thinking the same thing. When I saw this, I was like, this is the perfect precursor to Ryza.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that.
I mean, I get it, but I don't know. To me, the episode is, it's dull for the most part. I mean, the only suspense is, are they killing Wesley or not? But the rest of it
suspenseful because it's like, let's see here, he's star of the show.
Yeah, he's one of the main cast. He ain't going.
Yeah,
I mean, the other interesting part is the god or the ship above the planet. That's all right, but unfortunately for me, one of the tropes I hated in TNG. And the reason I hate it is because they did it so many freaking times. It was the main point of the storyline was, will Picard break the Prime Directive or not? That happened way too much.
Yeah. Well, the thing about this was this is nothing more than just a redress TOS episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you can tell from the way the script's written, from the way they're still kind of talking to each other when he's like, Captain to Riker, that just, when she's like CMO Crusher to, they still haven't quite found their footing yet. They're getting there, but they're not quite there yet. But even from the design of the planet people, the awkward perms, which screams 1980s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, even the outfits. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's pure classic TOS formula at its best, yet in an era where it fits at its worst.
Yeah,
to me, I thought the story was far better than the execution of what was written. I liked the idea that Starfleet beams down to a planet where, oh shoot, here comes this law that we weren't prepared for, and we possibly die for it. I like that. I think that's an interesting premise. I don't think the people of these kind of naive, on one aspect they have this, kind of ancient culture. On the other aspect they have syringe needles. Wait, what? This is kind of a contradiction, at least from my perspective. Either pick one. You can't have your feet in both worlds.
Yeah, well, not only that, but I mean, just look at the premise that they laid down, which, as you said, was interesting. You had, they beamed down. they stumble across a law that they weren't thinking about. And of course, you check the laws, but you don't check what the punishments are for them. Way to go, Yar. So you get that. But then when it's actually put into play, I mean, they state in the episode that there's only enough, the police are only in certain zones at certain times, and it's completely random. Well, they happen to be in that zone when Wesley falls into the flowers. That
Right.
It just so happens that, guess what? Ha! Your zone was picked. Ha! How do you like that? Whereas if it had been the day before, I guess it would have been okay because there would have been no police in the area. What the fuck? Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, the point of him falling into flowers was so dumb.
To me, I felt that it was just really weird that, to me, it was too convenient, that they just happened to pick the Wesley zone, which just happens to be Captain Trek's clubhouse name too, by the way.
Well, maybe the Wesley Crusher death zone, but
This is true. What was this game that Wesley was trying to teach them?
I don't know. He was awkward as fuck, dude. Especially.
Oh my god.
What game do you want to show me? There are some games I don't know yet, dude. Grow the fuck up, dude.
No kidding.
I get it. He was supposed to be a young teen, but no young teen cringes that badly.
He'd be like, "Hey, let's." I know. He'd be like, "Hey, let's go behind these flowers. Fuck these other guys. Let's go."
Like at that age, it's like. Rock and roll, I have landed in heaven. What the
It'd be like, you ain't got the perm yet, let's go. It's just like the whole thing was just creepy because it's like, why are we spending so much time with these kids? Like, what are you doing, people? Like, this whole episode in that regard was kind of creepy. Like that whole part could have been chopped and been like, give us something else. I don't know. Like I said, I thought the idea behind the planet, they're happy, they're kind of free, they're kind of free thinkers. I dug that aspect. I like the God aspect where they're kind of like, hey, don't mess with my kids. There are aspects of it, that I did like. And I did like the resolution at the end where Picard's kind of like, hey, I guess your God agrees with us, and then they beam off. It's kind of like a big middle finger to all the perm people, I dug that. But there is still some creepiness to these episodes where it's just like, that shit don't fly, So I don't know, man.
Cap, any thoughts?
Yeah. Well, those outfits were interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
They
would be a way to describe them.
They barely covered what had to be covered.
Yeah. We definitely know that the person who's doing set design went, you know what? Let's spice things up. What can we get away with on national television again? It's like bloody hell.
What tripped me out was with those police officers, the monitor people or the mediators. When they ran up and they're all like, we got to show our bravado, and they're running up like all like.
Yeah. King shits, yeah. Bloody hell.
What the hell is this shit?
Well, and not only that, but here's another part that just made no sense, right? It was a cool aspect, but completely lost and misused. So Data gets, brain screwed by the alien, right? Which, ouch. Because, the Data like mind melds with this thing and big transfer of information. For what? What do we learn from that story point that we didn't already know? Like, what information is gained by data mind melding or talking to or getting all this information transfer? What do we find out that we didn't already know?
The god that was in orbit with the Enterprise now knows absolutely everything
About the
in it.
Federation. Yeah. But other than that, how does that benefit the storyline at all?
Yeah, I think, again, it was to show, Data's an android. Look, he can link up with other thingamabobs. To me, it was just, look, he's a robot. To me, there was no real point.
Although, it took many years, but, at least, Star Trek, and I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but oh well, I need to make Cap laugh. So at least after many years, Star Trek was able to get revenge on that little glowy ball that attacked Data. Because then once it came to Star Trek Lower Decks, they tried to shove it into a garbage can and then made it poop out a tricorder and a bloody crystal. So, I guess they got revenge. It took a little while.
Oh, God. You asshole.
Well, just saying. It took a little while, but those lower deck crew sure taught that bugger a lesson or two.
Oh, yeah.
Oh God, I had to throw that in there. Son of a bitch. Oh, that's too funny. All right, so we'll let Cap recover for a minute or two. Oh boy. So
I do think one thing that I liked about this episode was, like, they had Geordi use his visor and be like, "Hey, go check this shit out," because that's something, like, he doesn't really do in a lot of the series. Is like, "Hey, go look at this," I've said this plenty of times. I love the fact that in the first season, Geordi's at the helm. I like the fact that you have a blind guy flying the starship. I like that. I think that's really cool. So anytime they draw attention to the fact that, hey, this guy can see in other spectrums, I dig that. I think that's really cool. Especially as a kid, the first time I saw that, I was like, oh man, he can check this stuff out. That's really awesome. Flip side of the coin, I did not buy Gates McFadden's acting in this episode, where she's all upset about Wesley. Because again, this is like the second time she's gotten upset about Wesley. The first time was in it was that Ferengi episode where she gets upset about, oh, Wesley's gonna die, and then here she is again getting upset about Wesley's gonna. It's like, look, if you can't bring your kid on board a starship, obviously, being on a starship, he's, there's the potential he could get hurt. But I mean, Jesus,
the flagship of the Federation.
Yeah,
you better believe it's going to be dangerous.
Yeah,
well, not only that, but sorry, go ahead.
He's an acting ensign. You gave permission for him to be an acting ensign. Like, if you didn't want him to be put in danger, you shouldn't let him go on these fucking away missions. And you shouldn't be fucking crying. I mean, I get it. You're a mom. I get that. But you're a senior officer. And this is the second time that you've cried. I don't buy that at this stage. And I like Gates McFadden as an actress. But at this stage of this character, I don't like the character. And I see why she got so much flack for it in the first season. Because all she's doing is whining. And then she's hitting on Jean-Luc, the other part of the series. It's like, I do not like Dr. Crusher in the first season. That is not the person that I eventually grow to like. What are your guys' thoughts?
Well, for me, I think that, Dr. Crusher kind of freaking out makes sense on the aspect of it's her son. What I didn't like was, if this had been any other Star Trek character, in my opinion, like if it had been Riker or if it had been anybody else, when Wesley goes, well, if you save me, Does that mean you're putting the crew in danger? And Picard shuts him down right away. You don't have a say in this, sir. Kid, shut up. I'm making the decision for you. Which just denuts him right there. In other words, he's not even given the option to, well, no, I screwed up. I should have to submit to this. And then, like Tasha Yar got herself into shite, and she went through with the fight. Yes, they did the whole transporter gimmick to make it feasible. But at least she was given the choice. Are you sure you're going to stand? Oh, yes, I'm going to stand. I blah, 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 blah. Wesley is just like, yeah, no, shut up. You'll do what we tell you. You have no say in this, boy. And I didn't like that because that denuts the character right out of the gate. He had a moment to have where he goes, no, I screwed up. The crew shouldn't suffer for what I did. And that's taken away from him in like 30 seconds. And that's one part that didn't land with me. But I don't know. What do you think, Cap?
I hate to agree with you, particularly about Wesley Crusher, because personally I would have loved to have seen him die in this episode. But you're right. They kind of took away everything he had, all his power. He just, oh, okay. Yeah, Captain says shut up, I gotta shut up.
Yeah, what do you think, Vance?
No, I agree. I think, it's one of those things where it's like the one time the character's kind of right, they revert back to the shut up Wesley, which has been turned into a meme. And that's one of those things where, for me as a kid, I liked the character Wesley. It does a great disservice to that character, especially considering the fact that he's saved the crew many a time. The one time where it's deserving for him to say, hey, no, I should kind of sacrifice for the crew. It's not your guys' fault. Don't be punished for me. You take that away from him,
Yeah.
And especially considering the fact that that shows real maturity to say, no, let me take this on my shoulders. It is my fault. You could have shown the character has some real depth, but you take that away from him for kind of a bitch slap. To me, that's just not cool.
Yeah, I completely agree. So let's wrap this sucker up and put a bow on it. Vance, what's your final thoughts and grade?
I would have to say that I liked the ideas behind it. I'd have to say, though, it's probably about a 3.
Cap?
Well, honestly, I would probably have to give it a 3 myself. Overall, it had some good ideas in it, but it really wasn't executed well.
Yeah, I agree. So I'd put it at about a 4. And about a 4, but that's being generous, I think.
I think so too.
But I mean, I like the concept. I like the idea. I just think it was done shit poorly. So it's not quite a meh for me, but it's also not Star Trek Discovery, so I don't want to go 1. So I'll go about a 4. Yeah, that's
on that note, I think I'll give it a 4. Excuse me.
Yeah. But with that, I want to thank everyone for tuning in today. I want to encourage you, please like, share, subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Leave a comment. I read them all. I answer most. And till next time,